Alright, yo, what's up guys? So, welcome back to my first tier list in a while. So this is going to be a comprehensive guide to Lethal Company's mobs, okay? Now, listen, I'm going off of many different things, okay? So, like, how dangerous they are, how hard they are to kill, and kind of how they impede, like, your extrapolation of loot from the facility, okay? Because, obviously you gotta meet quota, how they affect your goals of meeting quota, okay? So how they block your way, how they make you leave. Let's just start off. I don't want to waste your time. So starting off, okay, we have the Baboon Hawk, okay? Now this is an enemy that just sits outside the facility and kind of squeals at you, and you can scream at it and it'll make it run away, basically. It's a really funny enemy, so you can just go like, just curse at it, it'll run away. It's really funny watching people interact with this enemy. But as far as its dangerousness, it can kill you. It has killed me before, but it is very unlikely to kill you. I'm a very professional player, over 100 hours of playing, so anyway, so it's killed me a couple times. You just gotta scream at it or just don't touch it. If they're in packs, just don't mess with them. If you see them out, just stay in your ship because they usually come out later towards the day anyway. The Eyeless Dogs can kill them, which is really nice. So yeah, these really aren't a threat. I'd put them in D tier. I've only died to them once or twice, and again, you can just always scream at them. They're not a big deal. Now the Snare Flea, or as my friend likes to call him, the Heat Leech. Okay, so the Heat Leech or Snare Flea, it's called the Snare Flea, but they hang on the ceiling, and they're, you can kill with the shovel very easily. They make you drop all your items and they go in your head, and you can either kill them with a shovel or leave the facility. So obviously killing with a shovel is most viable, especially if you have somebody around you like your teammate, or you can leave the facility. Honestly, leaving the facility is very difficult because, like, unless you have somebody screaming in your ear telling you where to go, going like Marco Polo, it's gonna be very hard to find the exit with that thing around your head. It's very funny to watch people die to this, but overall it doesn't really affect you that much. You can just see it on the ceiling. It's not really that dangerous. You don't, only really newer players die to this enemy because they're not as careful. If you're looking at the ceiling, you're really fine, and they only appear in like the earlier experimentation, those types of maps. I never really see them in Dine or Rand. They're not in any of the mansion layouts, so I really personally like. I mean, they become kind of relevant later game. In early game, they can only kill one person at a time. They're slow. Once you see it once, you already know it's there, so our other teammates know if you die to it. And again, all it takes is a shovel. These really aren't a threat. They're not that scary. You don't gotta avoid an area in the facility, so I'm gonna put this in C tier. It's just kind of like, it can kill you, and it's happened before. It's pretty common, but it's not really a threat. Now the Earth Leviathan. Okay, so this one's kind of tricky. It really depends on the weather condition. If there's Eyeless Dogs outside, and these can really sneak up on you. If you're carrying like a cash register, you're kind of screwed when this thing comes into contact. So yeah, it really depends. You can die with these pretty easily. I wouldn't put it above the Snare Flea just because, again, like, you can hear it coming from a mile away. If you hear it's growling, just run backwards, wait a few seconds, then go back. If you hear growling again, run backwards, rinse and repeat. So it's fairly avoidable. It's not really a big deal. If you have Eyeless Dogs out, that kind of sucks, but that's like a really rare scenario, or like a giant out, which, like, yeah, it doesn't really happen that much. And you're safe with the ship. It's really not that dangerous. It's easily avoidable once you know what you're doing. So that's why it's low C tier. It's just really not that hard. Now the Forest Giant. Now these things are really annoying. So they come out at night in the forest maps. You don't really see them in the desert maps ever. They're in the forest maps. And what they do is they can hear you and they can see you and they stomp around. And I guess they don't hear you that well, but I still think they can hear you a little bit. But they mostly just look at you, and they can see from pretty far away. They can camp outside of exits. They're very annoying, and they're pretty fast. Like, even if you have nothing, you can barely outrun it. So if you're carrying anything, you're gonna drop everything and then go run away and then go back and get it. It's really a pain in the butt, especially if it's at like nighttime. You don't have all the time in the world to go back and forth. These can camp your ship. They're really very annoying. Now, you can counter them with a stun grenade, which is like pretty nice. But overall, very very annoying. So I'm going to put it either in high B or low A. I'm going to put it in high B because, again, they still are avoidable. They're clunky. They're big. You can see them. I might move it later. Really not much of a threat. Yeah. So the Beehive, honestly, the Beehives, they're really nice. They get you a lot of money. So they kind of spawn in the forest maps, and if you go near them, the bees come out and they come sting you. And it's really not that big of a deal. If you know how to take them, one person can get the hive, put it on the side of the ship, and you're good. You don't want to put it inside the ship because then the bees fly around everywhere and kill your teammates. You want to put it on the side so they're still kind of like there, and then once you like pull the lever to leave your ship, then you go run outside, pick it up, run it back in. So that's how you want to do with those. But yeah, they're really not a threat unless you get near them. The only time you can really die to them as like an experienced team is if like one of your friends is carrying the beehive, and then while your other friends like drawing the aggro, they just like completely run away from the hive, and then the bees are wandering, killing everyone while the hive is like somewhere else on the ship. Even if it's not inside the ship, they'll still wander. Like they don't know it's on the side of the ship. You kind of have to show them that it's there so they kind of like can hide. And that is pretty annoying. In terms of like, they're just very manageable. I'd put it above the Earth Leviathan, but still C tier, below whatever the leech thing. It's not more dangerous than that. Like, because like the leech, I guess it can catch you off guard. The Snare Flea, but the bees, they aren't really a big deal. You just, again, like, you can see them, you can hear them, you know what to do. Yeah. So the ghost girl, okay, so this might be a little controversial opinion. So she kind of she always, if you look behind you too much, you get paranoid. That's like what in that little menu, when you finish launching your ship, it says the most paranoid employee. So that happens if you look behind you too much. So if you're always like flicking your camera, looking for a Braken or whatever, that happens. And so the ghost girl, like, she spawns behind you and she giggles for a little bit, and then after a while she starts chasing you. If you like kind of look at her, you can like, I'm pretty sure, and like, don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure, but if you just don't look at her, if you don't acknowledge her, it makes her like come like chase you. Like, it takes, like, if you look at her, I think it makes you more paranoid. So you kind of want to ignore her if you hear. If you go like inside the ship and just like face backwards into a wall, since she only can spawn behind you, she can't actually spawn behind you and chase you. So if you already know she's there, just go like lean against a wall or something in the ship, and you'll be fine. So again, somewhat easily avoidable. But if you're inside the facility, or if she like immediately starts chasing you, it is kind of a pain. Now she is really slow and really kiteable. So that kind of just makes her really annoying. Now inside the facility, she can be pretty deadly, and especially outside the facility, if there's like dogs out or dying, like, you can't really like, run around. You got other things chasing you. So it definitely is a threat. I like more dangerous than Forge. Like the Forge Giants, they affect your whole team. She just kind of affects one person at a time, and even then doesn't really affect them that much to where, because if you have to drop all your scrap, your teammate can go pick it up, right? It's not really that big of a deal. Whereas a giant can kind of camp places, make it really annoying. So I'll put her in B tier. I mean, she's very dangerous, but it's only to one person, so if you split that risk to like 4 people, it just kind of makes her impact kind of minimal. Like, if you're playing solo, obviously I'd maybe put it even in A tier, but with the squad, I mean, like, yeah, you're not really that important, yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you could chase everybody, then not like, yeah, A tier, but yeah. So Braken. So I mean, a common trend with all these enemies is that they're easily avoidable, but obviously, you can't always be perfect all the time. So that's why I'm gonna put Braken in like, I'll put him in A tier for now. So Braken, I mean, like, he just kind of makes you go on your toes, really. So he spawns in the facility like 25% of the time on some maps, other maps higher, other maps lower. And what he does is, he comes up behind you, snaps your neck if you don't look behind you all the time. In like the higher tier maps, you're always looking behind you, looking for the Braken, the ghost girl spawns in you. That's kind of a deadly combination, but it's unlikely that you'll get a Braken in the first place most of the time. I mean, it's like, in 3 moons you're likely to get one, but it's like, to get one like Braken 3 times in a row, it's pretty unlikely. So yeah, he like spawns somewhere in the facility, he runs up behind you, snaps your neck, then drags you away, and your teammates can teleport you back. It's not like he eats you. You just kind of gotta be aware that he's there, but he's very dangerous. I mean, like, if you're not paying attention, he will kill you. That's why I'm putting him in A tier, because like, there's no real way to kill him either. I mean, because if you try to kill him, you're probably gonna get killed. He is killable, but it's just not really that viable. You're better off just kind of looking behind you all the time. This is one of the enemies that, like, you can't really deal with and kind of like leave alone. You always gotta be looking out for him. So yeah, it just makes you really paranoid. I'll put him in A tier. Definitely more dangerous than the ghost girl and the giant by far. Nutcracker, I think also definitely doesn't go in B tier. So Nutcracker, he spawns in like a Dying Titan Ren. I mean, he spawns in all, like, pretty much every map, but very low chances, except in the higher level moons. And he drops a shotgun with the ammo, which is very nice for dealing with other enemies like the Braken or whatever. But yeah, what he does is, he walks around, he looks with his eye, and when he pops his eye, you can kill him with a shovel or whatever. So he is killable, and he's pretty easily killable if you know what you're doing. With a stun grenade in the mine, you can pretty take him out easily. Just get him next to the mine, throw the stun grenade, and kablooey, he's dead. But it takes a lot of hours, takes a lot of experience, and I'm assuming that's something you don't have, which I obviously do have, but not to brag. Anyway, yeah, the Nutcracker, it's a formidable foe. So, like, as far as the Braken, like, I've died to Nutcracker more times than Braken, but just because Nutcracker is a lot harder to learn than Braken. Honestly, like, I feel like Nutcracker can wipe a squad really fast. Braken, it's kind of like one at a time, unless you look at him for too long. It's just a lot harder to learn how to deal with a Nutcracker properly than a Braken, because Braken, you know, you just look behind you, look at him for a second, and he's gone. You know, Nutcracker, you kind of learn like their AI, you know, learn like how they walk, don't get kicked, you know, don't get shot, don't get like when he's reloading, you get hit him really fast and run away. It's just much more of a pain, and it takes a lot more time to deal with him than a Braken. Braken, you look behind you. Nutcracker, you actually have to spend time in the facility dealing with it, so that's all put in A tier, maybe even S tier, but we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, Spore Lizard, much like the Baboon Hawk, doesn't really do anything. It's useless, it's stupid. I mean, okay, it obviously does something. It just kind of like wiggles its tail, shows you it's there. It's like, it's comforting, just because you know it can't eat you. I mean, it can kill you if you walk too close to it, but other than that, it's harmless. It sprays like purple gas at you, and it just kind of like fogs up your vision like the regular steam fog does. So yeah, overall useless. Honestly, like, there's like the Baboon Hawks, they at least sometimes jump you in a hay. I mean, if you're playing this game at like 1 in the morning like I do sometimes, the Baboon, like, you can't really scream with the Baboon Hawk all the time. So I would say they're a little more dangerous. I mean, they're also like a little more pain in the butt, because, you know, especially towards nighttime, they go in groups of 4 and you just really don't want to leave your ship. Whereas the Spore Lizard, as long as you're like not trying to like directly get past it, you can pretty much kite it away pretty easily. It's not really a big deal. Yeah, this is, I would say, the most harmless enemy in the game. Moving on, we got the Bunker Spider. Now this thing is a pain in the butt and like a terror for newbies, just because like the way it crawls, it's like very, very creepy. It's a very creepy spider. So, and it spins webs and it webs people. It's not fun to deal with. You can kill with a shovel, which is viable. It works, but it's not the most viable. It's just kind of like yeah. So it spawns in like mostly the lower tier maps. It can spawn in the higher ones too, but basically it weaves a web. If you step in the web, it comes and eats you, and you get slowed down. So like, just don't step in the web. You can destroy the web with shovels. Overall, it's not really that territorial. Just don't get too close to it. Like, you can get like pretty much like this close to it, like, you know, distance wise, like maybe like a foot away, and it won't attack you. But if you get past like a certain line or whatever it draws, then it obviously comes and eats you. This is fairly avoidable, and you can run away from it pretty easily. It's not really that big of a threat. It can block off areas, which makes it a pain in the butt to explore the facility. So I'll put it in B tier. Definitely above Ghost Girl. No, maybe not actually. I'll put it below. Yeah, and I'll put Ghost Girl actually above Giant. I don't know. She's a little more difficult to deal with than Giant. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely not like above the Forest Giant, just because, like, I don't know, the Forest Giant like can really screw your runs over. Like, you know, you have all this loot outside, and then you just see a giant, and you're like, oh, I can't carry all this back. Whereas a spider, it's just kind of like, you can run away. You know, if you want to avoid it, you can avoid it. If you want to kill it, you can kill it. Can't really do the giant unless you have a stun grenade, and even then you don't really kill it. You just kind of stall it. Now, Coil Head, oh my gosh, these things are a pain in the butt, especially if you're solo. Like, you pretty much need a teammate to deal with these. Now, you can't kill them, so my favorite strategy is kind of like, you know, looking at them until I find a door, shut the door, and run the opposite way. And it seems to work most of the time because they don't open the door in time, and by that time you have like a lot of distance you can cover. So they're fairly manageable. Now, if you get more than one, then you're kind of screwed. I'm definitely going to put it in A tier. I'll put it below the Braken. I mean, again, they're still like, you can deal with them. I'd say like even like the same tier as the Braken. But just for popular opinion, I put it below, just because they're a lot more common. I mean, if you get 2 or 3, you're screwed. You most of the time need a teammate to deal with them. Like, and like if you're trying to run away backwards from a Coil Head, you usually like run into an enemy or like run into a hole and you die. So these things are there you go. These things are relatively like, they're just annoying and dangerous. Like, I don't know, they're not fun to deal with. Yeah, put it in A tier. So yeah, basically you just gotta look at it and then like walk backwards until you find a door, and then shut the door, and then just like dip, like bolt. But yeah, like if they camp like exits or something, it's just really annoying. Like, you die to these all the time. They're very dangerous. Now, Eyeless Dogs, these things spawns outside, and like the desert maps normally, or in Titan or in random. Like they don't spawn the foresty ones. I mean, like they do, but like they spawn on all maps actually. They're just like less common in those. And basically they can't. I mean, Eyeless Dogs, right? They can't see, but they can hear you. And there's a lot of ways to deal with them, but none of them really conventional. Like, you can use a loud horn. You can like, you know, buy an item and have the little thing come down. And like nobody actually really does this, and like it's very useful to do. Like, you can, you know, like lead them away very easily, because, you know, they're attracted by hearing, so that you can just sneak past them and like, you know, make a sound in the ship. You just pull the loud horn, they run over there. Yeah, so they're fairly easy to deal with, but you still die to them a lot, just because, like, you know, if there's like a Forest Giant and an Eyeless Dog, like, you're kind of screwed. But even then, you can kite it, like, you know, make a noise and then run like horizontally away from it, so it goes kind of like imagine a triangle. Like, so the dog's here, you're here, you make a sound here, it charges at you while you run this way, and it just like kind of misses you. So you can do that. So yeah, fairly like you can deal with them, but they're still annoying. I'd put it like definitely B tier, but not above bunker spider. Like it's just they're a pain in the butt to deal with. Annoying. You can definitely die to them, like in unfair situations especially, because there are a lot of unfair situations in Lethal Company, but they're not too bad. Now the loot bug or the yippee or whatever you want to call it. I have a special nickname for this bug. If you really want to find out, you can ask me. But these things, they're called they hoard items. So like if you drop an item near the entrance, they take it away in their little lair and they stash it. There's usually more than one. Sometimes there's only one. It kind of depends. You can kill them with a shovel. It takes like 3 hits. They're very weak. But basically, if you go in their little lair, they kill you. And they take your items too, which is like a massive pain in the butt. So, yeah, you don't want to. Like they're just annoying. Like honestly, you can avoid them. You can like if they have like 3 flasks and like a Rubik's cube, whatever they can have it. They can have it. But they're blocking off an area. They're usually not. They're usually like in a corner somewhere. But if they block off an area, it is annoying. If there's one, they can like be used to gather loot from all the facility because like they usually have like a little stockpile going on. So if you can just kill it and take the loot, you're good. And they take your loot, which is really annoying. So like this is actually one of the mobs that like negatively affects you, like your like money gain, like directly. Like they literally take it away from you. That's why like for reaching quota, it is very annoying, because like especially the bigger maps, they just run around all the facility, take an item from somewhere, and then like throw it in the deepest layers ever, and you never find the item, and it's just really annoying. So that's why, and they can kill you. Like if you accidentally like if you're like, say there's a wall here and the bug's right here and you're right here, you get too close, they see you and then they fly around the wall and kill you. It's annoying. So yeah, definitely like I mean honestly, like if you're not greedy, not really a big deal, but you gotta make quota, right? So I'm kind of debating putting it above giant. If you're greedy, you put it above giant. If you're not greedy, you can put it below giant, just because you can avoid them, really. I mean, like you really don't have to mess with them if you don't have to. So I'll just put them below the giant because the giant's unavoidable, and the bunker spider you can kind of dodge too. Now the slime or the hydro, I don't know, it's called something hydro. It's weird, it has a weird name, but just call it a slime. This thing just kind of bubbles around. It's various different sizes. It's not like one set size. It's like it can be big, it can be small. You can usually jump over it, and it follows you around and it clogs doorways. And it's annoying, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. I'm just gonna put it top of D tier because like you can die to it, and it can block off entrances, and it can be annoying. Most of the time you can jump over it, but like if it's in a doorway, you can't really like get through it. You just have to wait. Or if it's camping like the spawn, you can just and you don't see the near activity detected, like because when you open the facility, right, you're outside the doors, you can like look at it and it says near activity detected. But if you don't see it or something, you just walk into it, instantly die to the slime. It's like a 2-hit. It's really annoying. You can't kill it. Yeah, it's top of D tier. I mean, it's extremely avoidable, but there are situations where it can really screw you over. Like if you're running backwards from a coil head and you walk into the slime, very frustrating. Now the Jester, our first S tier enemy. Okay, so listen, the Jester, right? It only spawns in the higher tier maps. I mean, in the lower ones, but like I think I saw like in Vow or something, there's a 0.33 chance of it spawning, very low, but and like the higher like Dian, Titan, it can spawn pretty often. Basically these things, they follow you around passively, so like you know that they're inside the facility, so once you see, it's there. It doesn't immediately attack you. It follows you around for a bit, and then it inevitably opens up and just starts running in the facility, killing everybody. And so what you have to do is you have to leave the facility for like 20 seconds to wait for it to like get out of its chase mode, and then it goes back into like this little box. So this thing like takes time from your day, it takes time from your quota, and if you don't have a walkie-talkie and you can't let your teammates know that this thing's around killing everybody, like if say you go to fire exit and all your friends go to the main entrance and you see this thing and you make it like explode, it's just gonna go in there and kill, like wipe the whole team pretty much. That's why like the signal transmitter is like really good for these. There's no really way to kill them. You can like hide on a railing, but even then like you're trapped, and then still it takes up a lot of time. Yeah, I mean the main reason it's an S tier because again you can deal with them, but if you didn't have to leave the facility all your teammates for 20 seconds, like that wouldn't, that's like the part that makes it really bad. And it's not 20 seconds, it's like 10 seconds, but still, it's just, you have to like coordinate your entire team to get out of there, and like it just really slows down getting like scrapped from the facility. So it's just, yeah, it's an S tier, and it's a one tap, you can't deal with it. Annoying. And I just realized the Thumper's missing out of here, so I'll add the Thumper later. But you have the mask. Okay, so the mask, basically, if one of your teammates are stupid and they put the mask on, they become Dream and they chase you, and they're like, but the fact is, and they try to convert you into like a mask. Like the Dream tries to convert you into a Dream Stan, okay, and like he amasses his followers. So you don't want to be Dream. Obviously, nobody wants to be Dream. So Yeah, he chases you around and he like throws up in your mouth. Very avoidable. They're slow. You can be carrying a lot of items and still outrun this thing. Like it's, I guess, more dangerous than the beast because even though they can slowly take your team over, and inside the facility, like you really don't know who it is. You're walking into, like you can be walking and see like a silhouette, and like oh hey buddy, what's up? And then they turn around and eat you. So kind of annoying. Yeah, maybe even above the Snare Flea. I'll put it above the Snare Flea. But other than that, they're not really a big deal. Yeah, and let me add the Thumper actually real quick. Alright, so I've added the Thumper. Now the Thumper, the last enemy we're going to cover. This thing can spawn on all the facilities very commonly, and it's very, 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 very annoying to deal with. If you see this thing, you pretty much, if you don't have a shovel, you just run away. You can kill it pretty easily, but if you don't have a shovel, you just run away. Like, there's nothing you can do. It just chases you around. It can, like, hear you from really far away. It seems to be everywhere. It moves very fast. I mean, once you get to this aggro, like you're good. You can run away from it if you know where the exit is. But if you try to get past it, it's very difficult to get past it without it killing you. Like once you see this thing, you either just gotta like go to a different part of the facility entirely, kill it, or just leave. And it can camp the entrance and just be very annoying. Yeah. So I'm gonna put it definitely like above the forest giant, above the loot bug, above the spider. This thing is just a pain in the butt to deal with. Unless you have a shovel, obviously you can kill it. And that's like, you can kill a lot of these enemies, the loot bug, the spider, even the giant stun grenade. But like, it's just if you don't have a shovel, if you don't have these resources, this is the most painful one to deal with, and it really impedes on your time in the facility, and just kind of isn't fun. It's just annoying, and it's ugly, and it's loud, and so that's the tier list. Okay, so I hope you guys agree. If you disagree, please comment down below what you think. Again, I obviously have a lot of experience in this game. I think like I have like 120 hours, so just let me know what you guys think. I've tried coming at this with a clear mind, educated opinion. So, yeah, I really hope this helped. Honestly, just really learn the Nutcracker's AI, and then it's like B tier easily. And like like obviously these you can be adjusted to with your playstyle. Like if you're really good at finding Braken you put in D tier because you never die to it. So it's all subject to like how you play the game. But this is more like geared for newbies and like just a more objective take, like on general consensus, because I play in a lot of random lobbies. I play with a lot of people, like some 6.5-year-olds and some like 50-year-olds sipping their bong or whatever you do to a bong. I don't know, smoke it. Yeah. Like and subscribe, obviously. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you watched all the way, you're a G. You're a top G. You can comment down below, skunk, because I remember I was on a bus one time and this other kid. Well, anyway, there's a girl called Skunk Girl, and this tier list made me think of Skunk Girl, because she did look like a skunk. Anyway, thank you for watching. Peace.